Hello everybody! CollectAAAYYY, Roaring Victory here, and yes, here we are with another CollectAAAAYY 2021 update. Please help me. The end will never come. It's just dinosaur figures non-stop. The end will never come. Anyways, yes, we have new collector figures, and yes, I am aware there were 3 other figures, well, 2, released last week. I didn't cover them, because I didn't care. But, here we are with 3 more figures which have just been revealed this week. And we're also going to cover the figures which were released last week as well. But, all of these figures are reasonably good, so this video probably won't be that long. But yeah, again, I said that last time as well, and it was quite long. So, I think the message is, I don't have a clue what I'm talking about. Well then, in that case, I think we should get on to our first figure before this ends up being like 20 minutes long. So since all of these figures are relatively good, I won't be organizing them by, worst to best. Instead, I'll be organizing them from the one that I'm interested in the least to the one that I'm interested in the most. So, let's get started. So first off, we have a pack of mini dinosaurs. Yeah, you can see why I wasn't interested in this. They're just shrunken down versions of the models. That's all there is to this. Well, I am aware that this is a running line with CollectAA, because there have been 2 more before this, but even then, out of these 3, this is the least interesting one out of them, because the second one had the Giganotosaurus,
which CollectAA still hasn't given us.
and I don't remember what was in the first one, but it was probably a T-Rex. But from what I remember, the first 2 were interesting because of the species which were in them. I mean, like, yes, there are some interesting species in this, like the Pliosaurus and Argentinosaurus. But that's pretty much it. I would be interested in the Therizinosaurus if I actually liked CollectA's Therizinosaurus, because this doesn't only suffer from just being small versions of dinosaurs, they're just small versions of certain models which aren't that good to begin with. So it's pretty safe to say that this is a pass for me. I won't be picking this one up. However, if I do, it'll probably be so I can get more small sauropods. But besides that, I'll just go with the second one if I had to choose one. And now I'm probably going to get killed for my ranking of the next figure, but the next one is the Sphagnus. Now, before you all kill me in the comments, I just want to say, this is a good figure. It's just that I'm not interested in it. I mean, of course, it's a good figure. Just look at it. Look at the detail on it. You can see every single scale, and the eye looks really nice with the orange and the black. I also really like the silver and the grey and the light pink? Is that... would I describe it as light pink? I guess I have to now. But the point is, yes, this is a good figure, but I'm just not that personally interested in it. Because the Sphagnus isn't an animal which I'm personally invested in. And also along with the fact that I don't really like aquatic reptile models. I have very few aquatic reptiles. And that's mainly because they are aquatic reptiles which are displayed on shelves. I mean, yes, you could create a display for them, but frankly, I don't have the time or the space. But I can see why people like it. I can see why this could be somebody's most anticipated figure for next year. But it's just not personally my thing. And now, moving on to another aquatic animal, we have the ammonite. It looks good. I just want to say that I really like the colours on this. Especially the white and the purple on the shell. I mean, my, just look at that! And I also really like the orange and the pale white? This video is most likely just going to be me guessing colours. So the point is, I really like the colours. And I also like the sculpt as well. I mean, look at the shell. That looks like a shell. That is a shell. Why do I keep on emphasizing shell? So once again, this is a really good model, but I'm just not interested in it. Because just like the Surfactinus, the ammonite is a species which I'm personally not that invested in. And also, I'm not that interested in aquatic animals. I'm starting to notice a pattern here. So yes, it is a good figure, but I'm just not that interested in picking it up. So unless it ends up getting really good reviews and it looks really good in person, I'll most likely end up passing on this one. Now moving on to our next and last aquatic animal, we have the Elasmosaurus. Now this is a good aquatic reptile. I mean, my personal highlight of this is the paint, mainly on the flippers, because I just really like the reddish pink they used there, along with the white spots that go along the body, which really stand out on the top part of the figure. And I also really like how odd this looks. Because yes, the Surfactinus looked odd, but just look at this. The tail is absolutely tiny compared to how long the neck is. I mean, this really is a aquatic reptile. It looks great, and I really like it. Now, if this thing looks good in hand, and depending on the price, there's quite a good chance that I'll actually end up getting this one. Because this species has my intrigue, so therefore it has my attention, and I really like the paint, and I really like the model. However, I do have one complaint about it, which is the teeth. I mean, the teeth might be accurate, but from this angle, the teeth don't look good. They just look like the bristles of a toothbrush, and a really big toothbrush at that. So this is a really good figure, and I probably will end up picking it up, depending if it gets good reviews and if it has a reasonable price. So, moving on, we have the Doedicurus, which I identified all by myself. Move aside, paleontologists. I'm here, and I identified a partly obscure mammal. So why do I really like this figure? Because first off, it hasn't beached itself, and second of all, just look at all of that detail on the shell. I mean, look at it! This figure just looks amazing! I mean, the detail is a little lacking in the tail, but apart from that, every single part of this figure looks spectacular! Besides the detail, I also really like the colours that I've used on this thing. I really like this savannah-looking colour scheme, with the orange tail, the brown face. And I also really like how the shell is a combination of both orange and white, which makes it look like it's been scratched over the years, making it look like it's been attacked by multiple carnivorous animals over its lifetime. So it's pretty safe to say, this is definitely a model that I'll be picking up next year. I mean, I'm not that big of a fan of prehistoric mammals. Actually, I don't think I have a single prehistoric mammal in my collection. The only thing that isn't a dinosaur that's in my collection is a synapsid. Even then, the synapsid is called Dino Gorgon, so it might as well be a dinosaur. Huh. So, I guess this Doedicurus will be a good start for my prehistoric mammals then. And now, our next and last figure, and my favourite figure from CollectA from this lot for 2021 is the Dilophosaurus! Ah yes, I see what you're thinking. Who would have thought it? The guy who has a dinosaur channel and has a dinosaur mascot favors the only dinosaur over everything else. That isn't my only reason as to why I like the Dilophosaurus. Where do I begin? The colors. I really like the colors. Surprisingly, I really like this mustard yellow along with the brown, but what I mainly like are the red crests. I mean, like, it does look like the paint for the red crests has been a bit sloppy, but apart from that, the paint on this looks spectacular, along with the bright pink mouth, along with the pale white underbelly. It just really makes this figure look great. Another thing which I really like is the sculpt, because first off, it has spines running down its back. And now, you just like to know how much I love dinosaurs with extra looking features going down their back. But these little spines, once again, make this Dilophosaurus stand out from the rest. It just doesn't make it stand out from every other theropod. It also makes it stand out from every other Dilophosaurus. Because the base description of Dilophosaurus is 2 legs and a crest. But these spines going down its back just make it different from all of the other Dilophosauruses out there. Along with the fact that this Dilophosaurus is actually more scientifically accurate now than your average Dilophosaurus. Because apparently there was a new paper released earlier this year about the Dilophosaurus. And apparently it went into the Dilophosaurus's crests, and they've changed. I don't know, I'm too stupid for this. But the key thing is, the crests are different now. I've heard people complain that the new crests on the Dilophosaurus in general are ugly, but if this right here is a good representation of what the new crests look like, I don't mind them. Another thing I really like is how skinny it is. I mean, it's not so skinny that it's shrink wrapped. The point is that it looks slim. Because most Dilophosauruses which I have in my collection are big and beefy. Even though the Dilophosaurus was, yes, it was relatively tall compared to us, but compared to every other dinosaur, it was actually rather quite small. So therefore, due to it being smaller, it would most likely be skinnier. So therefore, we now have a skinny Dilophosaurus. That most likely didn't mean anything to you, Zot, but it did to me. So yes, it's pretty safe to say that I really like the look of this. And I will definitely be picking this thing up once it comes out. Well, depending on the price. Because if this ends up being like £20, no, that would be a rip-off. Hell, even £15 would be pushing it. The point is, if the price is reasonable, I'll definitely be getting it. So now I believe this is all I have to say. So yes, Dilophosaurus is my most anticipated dinosaur out of the lot which we've seen. I don't know from CollectAA overall for next year. I don't know. I can't be bothered to go through every single figure at the moment. But the key thing is, I really like Dilophosaurus. So now it's time for me to go. So thank you, yes you, for watching. And here is Indomsec01, roaring to victory. Row.